Hello, lovelies. This is 5 Minute Manifesting, and I'm your host, Lovey Brown. Thank you so much for listening. I am thrilled that you're here. And today I want to talk to you about the techniques that you use to manifest exactly what you want. And so sometimes I get the question, like, what technique, Lovey, what technique should I use to manifest my specific person, getting into my school that I want, money, insert the manifestation here. And the answer is you should use the technique that you want to use. What techniques are you really drawn to? What techniques really resonate with you as something that you would like to try? You should do those techniques. But let's just talk about for a second that techniques themselves don't manifest, right? We know this. Techniques are just tools that we're using to train our focus. Now, they can be really great tools. In fact, I still use a lot of what we would call techniques in my manifesting, and I don't plan on stopping. I love affirming, and affirming gets me lots of manifesting results. I sometimes like to script, and scripting has gotten me lots of manifesting results. I definitely think that inner conversations are a fantastic technique, and inner conversations have gotten me lots of manifesting results. So I don't plan on stopping using techniques anytime soon. I think they're wonderful tools that help me train my focus. Now, those are just some tools that I like to use. Now, there are other ones that you can use. I was talking to someone recently about 5 by 55. Now, techniques like that and some parts of the manifestation community get kind of a bad rap. However, I love 5 by 55. I think that's a wonderful technique, right? Writing, and just for if you don't know what 5 by 55 is, it is a technique where you take an affirmation of something that you want and you write it 55 times for 5 days in a row. Or you can do a different version where you write it 5 times for 55 days in a row. And you can see from that technique is really training your focus. If you write a sentence or an affirmation 55 times, you're going to focus on it, right? You're going to remember it. Even if it's a little bit robotic or you're a little bit detached from it, that is still like that muscle memory in your handwriting that's going to get, some connections flowing. So I think that's a great technique. So even if you hear someone kind of speak negatively about a technique, if that technique resonates with you, you should try it. Now, let's just think about for a second, though, if there's a technique that you've tried that you just feel like has not worked for you. There could be something going on. And so maybe you take a break from that one for a while and you try something new. And then I just also want to put in a little plug here for techniques that sometimes you feel resistance to because you just don't want to do them. Now, so if there's just something that you're not interested in and you don't want to do it, then don't. Then don't do it. I mean, there's no need for this process to feel hard or to feel miserable. If there's something you don't want to do, don't do it. But if there's a technique that you think, gosh, I think that might work, but it seems like a lot of work. It seems like just something that I don't want to do. Really pay attention to that thought and just sort of sit with it and ask yourself why. So I'm going to give you a little example. So I recently have done a couple of rounds of doing 10,000 affirmations. I have a podcast coming about the results of that. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to tell you, doing 10,000 affirmations is a challenge. It's, especially if you're counting them or whatever. I mean, it was enjoyable. And I did the process. And like I said, I have another podcast coming about that. But it's a challenge, and I resisted it for a little bit, but I also had wonderful results from it. So, if there's something that you're feeling a little bit of resistance to, but you're intrigued by it, I think that's really the key is you're intrigued by how it sounds. Then, maybe go ahead and just commit yourself and really, just say I'm going to commit to do this technique for, X number of days or whatever boundaries that you want to put on it. So whatever parameters. and just see how it goes. So I also want to just encourage you with techniques to really kind of put on your science lab coat and just observe what's happening. Do the technique and see what happens. And I do that from a place of like openness of, I just want to see if manifesting works. If you're a person who currently doesn't know or doesn't believe that manifesting works or doesn't work, then put on that sort of science hat and just test it out for yourself and see what results you get. So the technique that you should use is whatever technique that you're drawn to, whatever technique you think might work for you. And with a little caveat of staying open-minded for techniques that seem intriguing to you, but you have a little bit of resistance around. I hope that makes sense. I intend that it does, and I intend that you got something out of this podcast. And may you manifest exactly what you want.